So right now we are joined by Mr. Ben Getz from Urban Harvest, and he's here to talk about companion planting this morning. Now, he was here last week giving us some tips when it comes to harvesting the fruits of your labor, and he came in and he also harvested some of these plants because we like to use fresh ingredients from our garden in our cooking segments here on Expresso. But today, as I've said, it's all about companion planting, which is very important if you want your garden to grow to its full potential. Ben, good morning, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
You've been doing fantastic because our garden literally exploded into an urban jungle, I can say, over the past couple of weeks. Well done, man.
Thank you.
So you've came in, you've harvested, we've used some of the fresh ingredients already, but it comes time to planting again. But this is where it becomes important, companion planting.
Yes.
What exactly is that?
Companion planting is a way of planting, and it's essentially the way that we have already planted the garden. It's a way of planting where you can bring a lot of variety together. So planting a lot of different plants in one small space rather than planting the same plant. So instead of having a field or a bed of just broccoli, you can have broccoli and leeks. That way you can fit more together in a small space and eat a greater variety, especially when your space is limited.
Do the plants actually benefit each other if you plant it like that?
Absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, it's essential to use companion planting, not just because of the space saving, which I've just mentioned, but also because it helps to keep the soil healthy and it helps to keep pests away from the plants. Certain pests will be attracted to certain kinds of plants, and if you plant those plants all together, then the pests have an absolute feast, and the soil starts building up pests. And this way, it's in a sense, it's confusing the pests.
Give us a few quick examples of plants that go together and plants that don't go together.
Well, let's use this. We've got a little display, a little example here. This is a lovely summer companion planting guild. We call them guilds where they come together. So you've got tomato, basil, marigolds, and this one's a chili, which we're going to plant in a few minutes. On this side, we've got eggplant or brinjal. This is also chili. And in between the eggplant, we've got bush beans, which is also known as green beans, the normal green beans. And then here, this is a lovely, simple guild as well. Spring onions and lettuce, spring onions and spinach.
Okay.
Those are just some examples. There are a lot of examples. Rule of thumb, the more the merrier. Most plants will go together quite well, but there are some that don't go together very well.
All right, so like one example, which wouldn't go together, just so the people at home know.
Beans tend to not go well with the onion family.
All right. But
that's one example. Tomatoes and potatoes.
All right.
Don't like
so obviously it takes a little bit of a research, before you go ahead and plant. Okay, so now it comes to the actual planting.
Yes.
What's the correct way? How are we going to go planting?
Okay, so one thing I'd like to mention, we've got two different kinds of mulch.
Yes.
I've mentioned mulch a few times. In this case, we've got straw. So the first thing is your soil's prepared. You've got to open up the straw.
Okay.
You don't want to plant into straw. You want to plant
into it. Into the soil.
Exactly. So we open up a space.
All right.
We can add some of our soil conditioners, which we've already discussed in previous segments. Just make sure that the roots are facing down and tuck the roots in. Bring the soil in around the roots. And then, quite important, a little bit of an anchoring, just a gentle push down. And then bring the mulch close in again.
All right.
I'll do it a bit. Just one more here, a little bit more quickly. Pop this one in.
That's fantastic. While you do that, when it comes to planting, let's say, things like your basil, your spinach, can you plant it all year round, or does it adhere to what we call seasonal planting?
Definitely, there are some veggies which you can plant all year round, most leaf crops, salad crops, but there are also veggies. Most of the fruiting vegetables are normally summer crops, so tomatoes are fairly new from spring onwards, the same with the basil, even chilies. So it very much depends, and it is important to check your local seasonal planting guide to make sure that you can, when you can plant what you want to plant.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us on Expresso. Once again, of course, you can get all Ben's details on our website, expressoshow.com.